Welcome to the Spinal Chat Podcast, a service of the Pennsylvania Chiropractic Association. In today's episode, we're spotlighting one of the PCA's strategic business partners, Jane App, an all-in-one EHR and practice management platform built for modern chiropractic clinics. We'll begin with an introduction and testimonial from Dr. Paul Roscioli, a longtime Jane user and advocate, who shares how the platform has streamlined his practice and improved patient engagement. Then, PCA Executive Director Mike Barba sits down with Jane expert Joel Medeiros for a walkthrough of Jane's many features, from charting and online booking to billing and patient communication tools. Video version of this podcast is available on YouTube. You'll find the link in the episode notes. Now, here's Dr. Paul Roscioli.
Dr. Paul Roscioli. I have been using Jane for about 2 years now. So prior to that, I was with another software company, and Jane has been an absolute lifesaver. It is just really good at doing everything, including the billing, credit card processing, taking the notes. And my favorite thing about Jane is the templates that you have access to, a database of hundreds of templated notes that are already there that I could start. And that might be a new patient note, or it might be a motor vehicle oswestry, things that in traditional softwares, you're going to have to recreate yourself. They're already there in the Jane software. Customer support with Jane has been absolutely amazing. You always get a live person on the phone, which is extremely rare these days, but they are very helpful. Since there are so many different features on Jane, I will say they do a very good job of keeping it very simple and not complicated. But because there are so many features that you might not know about, I do at times have to call customer service, and they've always been very responsive, easy to deal with. And if that person doesn't know the answer, they will actually reach out to one of their colleagues. So it's pretty rare that you get software companies that are that willing to work with you as solution oriented to try to fix your problem on the first try. So they're really big on trying to create one-touch solutions, which as a business owner, I greatly appreciate that. So thank you so much, Jane.
I think Jane is an amazing software. Super efficient. It makes it easy day to day just to go through and see which patients we have for the day, go through, and with even just like all the certain categories in the tabs with the files and the profile, it makes it so easy to see each patient for who they are and get to know, them as a person before we even get to meet them, or throughout the process, keep their data in there. So I think it's an amazing software, honestly.
I'm Dr. Paul Roscioli, and I recommend Jane software for all of my fellow members of the Pennsylvania Chiropractic Association.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Mike Barba. I'm the Executive Director of the Pennsylvania Chiropractic Association, and today we have Jane App. We're going to talk all about Jane, talk about all the things that Jane can do for your practice, how to make it better. We have a product specialist with us today from Jane, who's going to go ahead and walk us through some of the amazing new things that Jane has brought on and how you can interface with it. We just heard from Dr. Paul Roscioli, where he spoke of how much he loves the Jane App and how much it's really made an impact on his practice. And we're excited today to have Joe here today. Joe, thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me, Mike. Excited to be here and excited to talk about all things Jane today with you.
So let's start with real basics. Give me a 30,000-foot view of what Jane is and what does it do for chiropractors?
Yes, definitely love to chat about that. Jane as a whole is unique in that it can be as simple or as complex as you'd like. And what Jane does is it makes your life easier in the shortest sense of the term. How it does that is by having a user-friendly, intuitive, beautiful platform to handle all your scheduling, your booking for patients, handle your chart notes, your SOAPs, and making your life easier with add-ons such as things like AI Scribe, which help to basically automate your entire charting workflows. And that saves tons and tons of time in your day-to-day. Now, for chiros, Jane can be as simple or as complex as you'd like. What I mean by that is Jane works well for single practitioner practices with low volume. It also works amazing for multidisciplinary massage therapists, also in their modality with chiro, with other disciplines. And we can handle a 50 practitioner clinic with multiple complex booking schedules. So whatever you need to get out of the platform, whether it's that simple base workflow or you want to get complex with it, we're able to help that and make your clinic's day-to-day easier.
Yeah, you know what I find with a lot of chiropractors that I talk to, they say, boy, there just doesn't seem to be enough hours in the day to keep up with technology. And I've been through a few demos with Jane in the past, and I've always been very impressed with how intuitive lends itself well to a busy chiropractor who might be bringing this on and trying to integrate this into their practice.
Yeah, definitely can speak to that. So the thing with Jane is because it's built with the individual clinic's experience in mind, it makes it your life easier because when you go into the platform, it's a nice view in there and it allows you to set things up very quickly and you have a lot of support during the setup. So we have account setups, consultations that you can do right when joining Jane, which you work with someone like me on a one-on-one call and we help build your account with you. We teach you anything you need to know as well. And I can give you a show of what the Jane looks like and give you a view there. So this is Jane. And right now we're in the patient view. So this is an online booking site of our demo clinic and it's fully customizable with all the logos, the treatments. As you can see, we have a multidisciplinary practice here. We've got chiro, we've got acupuncture, and we can see all the offerings that we have in here. So the experience from the patient view here is meant to be very straightforward. Someone comes in, they click on a treatment, takes them to a nice schedule here, which again, you can have this just be simple shifts where you say, hey, I'm available 8 to 5. And that's when people should book. Or like I said before, we can get complex with it. You can have Mondays be for new patients, Tuesdays be for subsequent appointments. We can set up multiple rooms so you can stagger bookings and you can have 4 chiro tables at once and doing adjustments like that. So the booking can be set up in whatever way you're looking for there. Someone comes in, they select their treatment. It's going to go, and we're going to go to the booking flow here. For the online flow, we can make it so that patients have to put a credit card down. Helps with your no-shows, your cancellations through our Jane Payments platform, which is powered by Stripe. And we can just come in and get to the next page here. So right there, I just put a credit card in on file, and then patients will see what they've booked. They'll be able to do their online intake forms, which you can set up to send automatically for any type of way you'd like to have that set up. So we can do disciplines. If you have multi-disciplines, ones go out for chiro, forms go out for massage therapy, set it by practitioner, set it by treatment. If you have a new patient intake and you want that to go automatically, all of that fun stuff. Appointment reminders via email, appointment reminders via text. Those are supported as well. But as you can see, it's a very straightforward flow. And all your patients will also have access to a handy portal, which you can see here. And they can do a lot of their activities without even needing to contact the clinic. So instead of someone needing to call you to reschedule, to cancel, they can come in here and review that. They can update their address. They can pay off their balance to you, as we can see on the left here, change their credit cards, download their own receipts, edit their own notification settings, all of that fun stuff they can do in this view here. A new feature that's actually really cool that we've just launched about a month or 2 ago is our messages platform, which is a secure messaging built into Jane. It's like a Facebook chat or an Instagram chat. And as we can see here, we're able to have a practitioner, and so demo owner is our practitioner, chat with the patient right here in the platform. So the super cool feature that just came out.
Now with the SMS texting, you're able to, let's say somebody has a outstanding balance. Through this platform, the team, the staff can go ahead and send a reminder note via text to the patient if they have SMS enabled on their account. Is that correct?
That's exactly correct. So if there is an outstanding balance, you can send it via text, just a link telling them they have an outstanding balance. You can send it through email, and it's super easy. What I just did here is I've actually swapped over to the administrative side as Jane. So this is where you as a practitioner, you're going to be spending the bulk of your time. And we can actually have a look here and see that workflow, which is just right here on a patient's profile. I can see Anna has a balance of $10.50. I can just go ahead and send a text here, and that will send a text letting them know that they can pay their balance here.
That's great. What other data is on this dashboard for Anna specifically?
Yeah, there is a lot of cool stuff in here that we can go through. So, of course, we see all of their outstanding invoices, their claims. If you're doing insurance, of course, we'll see that under claims outstanding, or we'll just see it as private outstanding if it's a private pay, cash pay. We can see if they've no-showed, what appointments they have, all basic demographics, right? Their birth date, contact information, the messages that I went over as well earlier, we can see here, see their upcoming appointments, what settings they have turned on for reminders, if their intake forms are outstanding, which we can see this one is because it's pending, it's not completed. That's something we'd be like, maybe want to contact them in the messaging platform if their appointment was coming up and just say, hey, I noticed you're seeing me in 24 hours. Do you want to just go ahead and fill out that form for me there? Other than that, we can have relationships between patients. So if you have family members that you want them to be able to pay for their children, spouse, we're able to set that up and have and enable permissions like viewing and paying for the other person, receiving copies of their payment emails and invoices, receipts, all of that kind of stuff. And that's really just the profile tab. We can see plenty more here, like their charts. We can view all their charts. We can do their charts, see their intake forms completed in here. And then we can also go and view all their billing information, right? We can see if they've purchased any products, treatments, see any claims that are outstanding, just like above, see any payments that still need to be collected, all that fun stuff. Another handy one is the files. So this is super cool if you're looking to upload anything to the patient. Maybe you have some stretches you'd like them to do, some images, PDF files, videos of that. You're able to upload those here and actually share it with the patient. If you remember the portal we went over earlier, there's another tab we didn't go into called Documents. Documents is where we can share these files directly to the patient. It'll also send them an email letting them know they have a new file.
Wow, boy, it just seems like there's so much functionality here at the fingertips of the staff that's there. Will they get a reminder through the Jane app that reminds them we don't have form completed? Is that something that's part of the functionality here to remind them if they didn't receive something, or is it something they would interface with when the patient arrives?
Yes, that's an excellent question. So there are two ways to approach this. You're definitely able to, of course, see, like we went over, the forms and what their status is. Now, it won't automatically email the practitioner if there was like 24 hours. It will email the patient 24 hours before the appointment and tell them there's an intake form they haven't filled out. That's automatic. Now, in terms of filling out the form, let's say they come in the office and you notice, okay, the form is pending. Maybe they've started it, maybe they haven't started it, and you want to get that filled out. What clinics love to do is have a tablet in the office or a device, and we can come to the profile, hit fill out, and fill out the pending form here, or another intake form, or another survey if we want to send that out. And as we can see, there's an option to pass that device to the patient. So it locks your account to prevent them from seeing any other patient data, and then allows them, if we go through here, to fill out the intake form. And you would give them the tablet and they'd be able to complete that. Now,
that's cool. Wow.
Yes, definitely. Now there's another thing to consider, and it's a very new feature we've just come out with called the patient forms report. So I'm just going to go ahead and sign back in here, and I'll just show that real quick. So the patient forms report is one of our many reports. We've got reports for everything you need for the data for your clinic. Patient lists and demographics, all of your billing data that you need for your accountant to be happy. And the one I want to mention here is this beta patient forms. Now, if we come into this form, we can actually see that we can see all the forms that are outstanding. So you could review this and just check for what's upcoming. So we've got the most recent dates here. We can see we've got some appointments today where they haven't started their forms yet. So you can come in here, hit the view more, and we can send them a reminder right in here. So this is a new thing that's come out in the past, I believe 1 or 2 weeks is when the launch of was this in the beta phase. And we can send them an email, add a message, and it will send them a quick reminder. So handy place for you to check outstanding forms before the appointment even comes up.
I was talking to another chiropractor just recently, and he was sharing that he's got one for his bookkeeping, he's got one for his patients, he's got one for just text messaging, and one for forms. And boy, it seems like Jane really brings all of those together under one easy to use platform that allows for the practice to be in the driver's seat in regards to the communication and keeping track of all this information going forward. That's exciting. You had mentioned a new AI Scribe. Do you want to talk more about that?
I would absolutely love to. Yes. And you're right. That's the whole ethos of Jane, is to be your all-in-one solution. So you don't need 10 different subscriptions, 10 different platforms to navigate throughout your day and integrate with each other. It's really an all-in-one, which is a really cool thing. Now, AI Scribe, really awesome feature. We've been getting some amazing feedback on this. Came out a few months ago out of the beta phase. Basically, it's an add-on to Jane, and it allows you to record your sessions with your patients. And it will then, if you're familiar with like large language models such as ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude, all of those, you would be familiar with prompting. So you prompt those AIs to do something for you, take an action, search for something. AI Scribe is the same concept, right? So if we go in and we want to go have a look here, I can just navigate to a chart, but essentially we see this smart soap note here. Now, if we add this in, at a first glance, it just looks like a simple note box. But if we go in to edit this, we can see a bit more. So this is a default prompt we have, and it says, write a soap note with the following headers, right? So we are asking this AI from an audio file to write a subjective section with these details in mind: an objective section, an assessment section, and a plan section. Now, what's really cool is we can keep adding more of these. We don't have to have them in one text box. So I can come in here and I can start building a template where each box has a different prompt. So if I delete all this, I can go pull out any mention of medications with dosages mentioned by the patient. So now in this text box, it's going to do this. From my audio file, it's going to pull out medications and their dose. And in this one, it's going to write a soap note for us. And we can keep going, building and reiterating upon that. Now, in terms of the recording flow, it's very straightforward. In Jane, we have a microphone here. So when we have our draft chart, we would just hit this and we would start recording the audio of this session. And we would just record our full session with the patient. And as soon as that's done, it's going to get to work. It's going to be analyzing that audio file for each of these text boxes with whatever you've prompted it to do. If you prefer to record outside of Jane, you definitely can. You could use your phone, have it on the table, whatever works for your workflow, and then you can upload the audio file. And the same thing will happen. The prompts will get to work. They will analyze the session that you had, and they will implement the data based off the prompts that you've done here.
I know I have a lot of doctors going to be asking about HIPAA. So how is this firewalled off so that the recordings and or the notes themselves aren't a HIPAA violation in some way?
Yes, so it is HIPAA compliant. Of course, that's one of the biggest things that Jane always keeps in mind with any update, especially with something dealing with sensitive data such as voice recordings of your session there. So there are a few things in place, like aside from the basic data security that Jane has in terms of the backups and the security of data in the data centers. For the files themselves, the audio recordings, you have a lot of control over how those are handled. And what I mean by that is you can set auto deletes. So if you wanted to have the files delete after 12 hours or a day, 24 hours, you can do that, right? And then all of those files will just be wiped completely. They won't just be staying in the account here. In terms of the data storage, if you choose to not have them delete in a day or a week, we have a great guide on this in our documents that kind of goes over how Jane has data privacy in mind. And it's a whole thing that really gets granular with data security protections as they relate to HIPAA. And the file recordings fall under the same concept of the patient demographics, their details, all that fun stuff there.
So when we're talking about the functionality of Jane and utilizing the Scribe and what have you, if I went from not having any type of an app like this, no software that is this technologically advanced, and I wanted to start fresh with Jane, what's the onboarding process like?
Definitely can speak to that. So Jane has an ethos behind the company of really human support. So what that means in practice is we're with you from pre-onboarding through the setup to make sure you're ready to go. There's demos that you can do, which are personalized for your clinic. Let's say you sign up and you're like, hey, what's next? I would say on average, what we usually see for the timeline from you have signed up for Jane to you are ready to fully be launched It averages depending on a few factors, like the size of the clinic, how complex you want the set, like how complex you need for your booking, that sort of thing. I usually say 1 to 3 weeks is a general time frame for this. Of course, if you are a individual practitioner, you can easily be set up in a few days to a week, no problem at all. If you're a huge national corporation, you have 5 different clinics with 5 locations, 50 practitioners, that's going to be on the high end of the setup scale, right? Because there's more things to consider during the setup there. Now, we do have in that onboarding process, like I said, with the human support, a complimentary account setup consultations. So they're 45-minute Zoom calls where we come in with you. We talk about your clinic specifically, so we know what to build with you, and we help you. We teach you how to build an intake form. We teach you how to set up your schedule, all of that fun stuff. And you're not limited to one. You can do as many of those as you'd like. Additionally, we also have a complimentary import process with a dedicated imports team. So you're coming from another software. You might be wondering, how do you get your patients in? Do you have to manually do everything, upload that in? And the answer is no. So our imports team is happy to help here. You just schedule one. You download or export your files from your current platform, their patient demographics, insurance policies, things of that nature, charts, all that. And you just upload it, just the files, to our team in our import processing hub. And then our team takes it from there. They'll just take your files and they'll upload them into the system. So you've got support on all aspects of the transitional phase of joining Jane.
Joel, I got to tell you, it seems Jane is really a one-stop shop. I love that for our members. Can you show me how the schedule works, how that interface works, and walk us through step by step?
Yeah, I would absolutely love to. So the schedule here is just going to be right here. It's super easy to read and see what's coming up in your week, in your day, no matter if you're one clinician or multiple. So we can see here we're looking at one person schedule. If we needed to look at more than one, we can add them in and we can see the day by day and the practitioner by practitioner. Now, if we're just focusing on the one here, we can see everything is color coded in Jane. Your treatments, as we see in the left, can be color coded, and that can allow you to easily see what's upcoming. We're looking over on the middle here. There are some other colors that come up. If someone's paid for an appointment, we've got a handy logo here with a dark green. If you've checked someone in called arriving in Jane, you have a light green here. Any breaks or meetings you can set up like this. We can see first visits if it's their first time coming in, all of that. Now the booking process from an administrative standpoint, super easy. We just come to the left, hit the magnifying glass, and we can see all of our available slots based on the shifts that we've set up, which are just how we indicate when someone is working. We click, we select the patient if they're an existing one or add them as a new one. If they have insurance info, a really cool thing is you can just copy the previous. So if you have billing codes, diagnoses codes, policies, we don't need to manually enter those if it's going to be, you're seeing them for the same adjustment, for the same issue every other week or so forth. Now we just come in and we can book this here, locks it in, and that's the booking flow on the schedule. So very handy there. Now, another aspect of the schedule is combining a few areas. It's called the day view. And this is really what I like to say is the one-stop shop in Jane for you as a practitioner to go through your day using. Now, what I mean by that is if we look in here, we can see the schedule, but it's just a single day. So you're meant to go through and go, okay, Melissa's coming up, then Roy, good to know. We want to do our charting, of course, when they come in, and we want to check them in. So if we click this, that chart tab I showed you earlier, we can access it here. And we can see their historical charts. We can do our charts by doing our new chart entry. All of that's good to go. If we click it a second time, we get this handy appointment window, which we saw on the schedule. So you can arrive them or check them in, take payment through their card, through whatever method you have set up. We can edit their appointment, add any notes. For example, let's say they're always 5 minutes late. We can do a starred note. And now anytime they've booked in, this note will appear on that appointment, just like this. So this is that one-stop shop. We can see their billing info, any insurance info for those of you doing insurance. We can access this all right in here in one handy view. So you don't even need to be swapping these tabs. We got it all built up here for you.
Can you tell me more about reporting? And if, let's say I wanted to go through and run a report, an entire month snapshot. Can you show me that report and how easy it is to find something like that?
Yeah, exactly. So we've got a few areas where you can access reports. Now, one of them is going to be in this Day View tab. If I just go here, it's called our practitioner dashboard. So it's an individual view of you as a practitioner over a certain time frame, and it shows you a bunch of data. It shows you your total patients you've seen, your new versus returning, how busy you are in your schedule compared to how much shifts you have in there. You can see your chart. If you have not completed some, we can see the drafts here, right? We can click in there and we can pull those up to make sure we sign those. So that's one aspect. The other one is that reports tab we touched earlier. So if we come into here, we can go down to some billing reports. There's a super handy one I love called the summary report. This is an accountant's best friend. You can come in here and we have a bunch of filters to show a lot of billing data for your clinic. So right now we're looking for the month of August. I can select a specific staff member. I can change the date range. I can change for multidisciplinary and we just want to check chiro. I can do that, right? And then this will load our file and I'll go through some of the stuff that we're going to see on here. Basically your income versus outcome, that sort of thing. We see a sales breakdown, how many appointments have been arrived and are outstanding. And then out of those outstanding, how many have we actually gotten those payments for? So you can use that, gift cards, our income source, whether it's patient, insurance companies, if there were tips, any credit memos, which are giving someone a credit without them paying. So if you wanted to give them a one-time kind of credit on there, any refunds, all of this here. And you can take this and export it. So we just hit these three dots, export to CSV. You can load that into QuickBooks, NetSuite, whatever you might be using for your accountant software, send it off to your accountant and they can take it from there.
It's so clean, so easy and clean. Can you think of anything off the top of your head that could be some practice issues with adopting Jane?
Yeah, that's an excellent question. I would say when someone's transitioning over to Jane, there's the obvious any new software. You have to learn any new software, right? There's going to be learning how to do bookings, how to schedule, how to do your billing. I think the one that takes the most work in the transition, I would say, is the insurance side of things. When someone's transitioning over, they might be using, let's say they're using a clearinghouse like Availity. In Jane, we fully integrate with ClaimMD. It makes your life easy because you're able to do eligibility checks right in the patients tab here. You're able to submit claims in Jane and not even need to go into ClaimMD, right? Whereas most companies, you'll have to download the claim file, upload that in their platform. So then you're using multiple tools. Whereas with ClaimMD, it's fully integrated. Now, how that can be a challenge is if someone's with Availity, they've been using it for a while, and they come in, they might want the benefit of ClaimMD because it's super handy. I think the statistic I saw before was 80 to 90% of clinics on Jane do use ClaimMD just because of how easy it is to use. So with that, you have to do a transition between clearinghouses. And that's a process. You have to upload your credentials to get credentialed for doing electronic transfers. So that can take a bit of time, right? To get set up with ClaimMD can take the 1 to 3 weeks, similar window to what I said for set up for Jane. And that can be learning a new platform, just accessing it, signing it up. That can be a learning curve for sure. But again, you have our team, like I said, with the account setup calls, and we help to build those things with you. Building off insurance in Jane, you need to set up your billing data to submit your claims. Stuff like your NPI needs to go in certain locations. If you need a supervisor to submit under a different NPI number, then that needs to be set up a specific way. So coming in, that might be one of the areas that you want an extra hand on, just because there are a couple places where you might want to put your billing data and your staff data to be able to submit your claims and make sure you don't get any denials or rejections. But in that sense, we will help through that process. We'll show you exactly where things need to go. So you will have us as a resource all along the way there.
What's great is you've really covered so much that the Jane app does. You've talked about how the scheduling works. You've talked about how billing looks like through the Jane app and how you can stay on top of it. We've talked about how the clinical documentation, and especially the AI transcriber, which sounds so amazing to really keep you on task and to make it as straightforward and easy. I know a lot of doctors' time is a premium, and this is a quick way of being able to stay on top of your notes, but ensuring that there's a quality of note that is being put out with that Scribe. I love that. Can you share, are there any other really exciting features about Jane that you want to share about, or any other integration or add-ons that a doc may want to explore as part of their Jane journey?
Yeah, definitely. We can take a look over in our settings. Jane has a bunch of integrations that have been intentionally thought out to be able to support your practice. So I mentioned one earlier, ClaimMD, for anyone doing the insurance. We touched on Jane Payments, which is the credit card processing through Stripe. Those are the first two. Now, another one here, a super handy one, is Clinic Sites. Now, Clinic Sites is basically a website that also uses AI to build the site. So what that looks like as a site, if I go here, we'll just open it up. This is a website built with Clinic Sites. You basically come in, and I've done this setup of this in my kind of Jane onboarding. It takes about 5 minutes, and I'm not even exaggerating, just because of the AI aspect to it. You come in, you say, hey, I'm a chiropractor, and this is my practice. This is what we have. And it will build you a website with photos, with text, just like this, all built very quickly. And then from there, you can, of course, edit it. Very simple website builder to edit. We can have your services here. And the best part about this is integrated with Jane. So maybe you're using Wix and you have changes to your staff, to your treatments, disciplines. You'll have to manually upload those and update them in your website when you change it in Jane. Clinic Sites, that happens automatically. So if I change my offerings, my discipline, I remove physical therapy, for example, on Jane, it'll also remove here. And if we go in, it's really cool. If we come in and we see chiropractors, we have two. If I remove Dr. Rosewood in Jane, this is going to remove Dr. Rosewood here because of that integration with it. So it's really, really powerful feature to help with your website. They also have search engine optimization as well. So they help you with the Google results and Safari results, getting up to the higher kind of pages there. So you get more views, get more patients, all that fun stuff.
So if you were to remove Dr. Rosewood, all of Rosewood's potential hours that she was available on the scheduling, that would all go away. We'd be able to lock that out and close that out. Let's say you had to change something immediately, that could be done pretty quickly. And if somebody had, let's say Dr. Rosewood, for some reason, she had to cancel some appointments, how would Jane handle that? She's not leaving the practice, but she's not able to make it for a week. How would we be able to catch those people that had appointments scheduled for Dr. Rosewood and fix those without it being a plain phone tag and leaving messages and trying to reschedule?
Yeah, excellent question there. If Dr. Rosewood was removed from the schedule, you would, let's say you put breaks on the schedule, you do the breaks on there. It's super easy to move appointments between providers. So if I can just click on here on one of the appointments, I'll just look at my schedule here. And assuming that we're booking with the same schedule so that we're not needing to move the times, that would be something to consider. If you had no practitioners working at the same time, we'd need to do a bit more granular work there. If we came in here, I can go ahead and this one's actually arrived. So we'll go to a different one here. So this one is an appointment, not invoiced, and we want to move this appointment. We'll come in and we'll hit move. I can then click on the same schedule, or I can click on another provider, and I can just move that directly in here. I can, for this case, this provider doesn't offer the same treatments. So Jane is asking me, what treatment do I want to offer? You, of course, would make sure that they have the same offerings. Then I can confirm and notify, which is going to notify the patient of the transition. If it's just a time transition, they'll be notified. Or if it's just a staff transition, they'd also be notified as well. Yeah.
Well, that's great. Wow, that's so intuitive. It's amazing. Joel, what other add-ons can really be beneficial for practice owners?
Yeah, there are some really cool ones we've got in here to help build your practice. So one of them I really like is called MailChimp. If you're familiar with them, it is a marketing service where you have emails that go out for marketing purposes. Maybe you're doing a newsletter every month, which has a promotional rate for the month if they come in 2 or 3 times, or just for the month in general. So we integrate with MailChimp, which is awesome. So your patient list will sync over to MailChimp, and you'll be able to send out those campaigns, those marketing campaigns, through their platform. And a bonus, MailChimp even has a free plan. So I believe it is about 500 emails going out a month that you're able to send completely free of charge. So you can set up that integration for the marketing, and you don't even need to pay for another platform as well, which is really cool.
Awesome. Any other interesting add-ons that you want to talk about?
Yeah, I mean, we got Documo here. which is a super cool one if you're sending out, you need to fax. So it's an outbound fax integrated service. You can, from the charting section I showed before, you can fax full pages of their chart notes directly from Jane. Super handy if you're dealing with any type of legal cases, personal injury, and you're needing to send those charts out, or maybe you're needing to fax charts to insurers for any reason. You're able to do that with Documo, and it is integrated with the outbound fax. You can also receive faxes to Documo. It's just going to be in the Documo platform. We're working to expand on that though and bring that functionality in directly.
Joel, you shared so much with us in regards to Jane and its abilities, its capacity to really help the practice. Can you give me any idea of any future items that we should be looking at coming from Jane in the future? I think that AI Scribe is pretty amazing, but is there other things like that we could be looking forward to?
Yeah, definitely can talk to that. So there are a lot of fun things in the pipeline coming up. And a big area we're looking at is expanding into more integrations. A really big thing we've been getting a lot of requests for, and we've been really trying to be intentional with, is the companies we partner with. We want to make sure that they're aligned with Jane, and also that they are, important and useful for the clinics on Jane. So with that, some of the things coming up are like an active labs integration, if you're doing any sort of labs that you need to send out, as well as a e-prescription integration as well. There's a lot more fun things. And the best part about Jane is you can actually see things that are upcoming. If we look at this need help button here, we've got a bunch of upcoming features that you can see yourself, which is super cool on Jane. So the feature request area is where all of the Jane community can come in and do some things relating to features that you want to see. You can create a new feature request of something that maybe Jane doesn't do yet, but you'd like to see in the future. If we scroll down, you can vote on other people's feature requests. And if you add your vote, any update, our team actually comes in here, and the features that we launch, we use this as a kind of a guiding star to pull those out, because we want to build a product that, you as a clinic owner want to have. So you come in, you vote, and any votes, if the feature updates or there's a beta access period, you'll actually get notified via email of any changes there. Beyond that, you can see exactly what's being worked on by our team. So if we come to the roadmap up here, we can see all the things that are planned. We can see anything in progress, and we can also see all of our completed feature requests here. So if we take a quick look, one of the things that's planned is expanding on that AI Scribe functionality for virtual sessions here. So we can have a look on this, and it's just optimizing it for those virtual sessions as well. To clarify, AI Scribe works fine for virtual sessions. It's just you have to have the audio kind of come out loud is the only thing to consider there. But like I said, we've got the e-prescription integration. Those are planned. If we look at the in progress, the intake form report is what we went over earlier, the patient forms report. So that's actually in beta right now, and you're able to access that. We're working on a two-way Google Calendar sync, the labs integration, all that fun stuff. Secure messaging is launched now, as we went over. So you're able to come here at any time and see exactly what's coming down the pipeline, which is super cool.
Yeah, that is exciting. Jane has been such an amazing partner to us over the years, and I just want to thank you and the entire Jane team for trusting the Pennsylvania Chiropractic Association and really communicating directly to our 3,775 chiropractors. Can you give us your last pitch? Why should a chiropractor want to try out Jane?
Yeah, I'm happy to speak on that. So something for previous context, Jane was built by clinic owners. I was built in North Vancouver. Alvi and Trev built it together, our CEOs, and they built it because they couldn't find another platform for their practice that had an all-in-one, not only the all-in-one aspect of being able to do everything that Jane can do today, but also that had the human element that they were looking for. So they built it together over about 9 or 10 years ago is when Jane made its inception. And with that, it's built by clinics for clinics in mind. And specifically speaking, Jane, like I said earlier, is as simple or as complex as you'd like. Jane will work for solo practice, low volume. It will work for a multi-location, multi-practitioner practice because of the granularity. Chiropractic is one of our biggest subsets of Jane. We have a template library, which has intake forms and chart templates built by the Jane community. If you look at the chiropractic one, I just saw it today, it's at about 21,000. So those are all built by other chiropractors. We have a huge chiropractic community on the platform. So you have a lot of support there, not just from the Jane team during setup, but also in our Facebook groups. There's a large chiropractic community to pull from where you can not only chat about Jane and features in Jane and functions in Jane, but just about chiropractics in general. You've got this whole Jane community. If you have questions about running a business, then you're able to chat in those groups. I think the thing that I find the most amazing of Jane, beyond the kind of brilliance of the platform and how intuitive it is, really the support team and the team. Our team is able to help you through demo, onboarding, setup, and we really care. The team is dedicated and you will always get support and will always help you to, if there's something comes up, if the trouble, anything on the account, you notice an error code, we'll be there the entire way and you'll have us as a support. So you'll never be alone in that sense. And it's not like you're just getting a new platform. So even though there is setup involved with any transition, you do have that. You have our team as a resource there.
Joel, how do we get a hold of Jane? How do we move forward? If we're sold and we're ready to get started, what's next?
Yes, definitely. So we've got some slides here briefly. We're going to go over that. So first up, I want to share a special thing for the PCA community, and that is a 1-month grace period for Penn Chiro. The code is here. It's PCA1MO, and as in 1 month. And should you move forward, want to sign up, then this code will be just entered during your sign up process, and it gives you a month off there, which is super cool. Now, if you want to sign up for a demo and a personalized one at that, so we can talk about your specific needs as a clinic and show you how Jane can fit into your specific practice, this is a QR code here. You just scan it. It'll take you to our booking link, which will allow you to book a demo with our team. It'll be a 45-minute call. We'll go over whatever you want to talk about. We'll see how we want to navigate the demo. And then from there, we'll send you an email after the demo. You can just head to jane.app and there will be a sign up button in the top right of there.
Joel, as always, you always bring the best information to us in regards to Jane, and the functionality of Jane is so impressive. On behalf of the Pennsylvania Chiropractic Association and all the chiropractors, we want to thank you for your partnership with us. And we want to thank you for taking your time today and presenting Jane to us. So thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, Mike. It's been an absolute pleasure. Really appreciate you having the time, the space to chat and chat all things Jane.
The PCA is proud to partner with innovative companies like Jane App that help chiropractors grow, connect, and better serve their patients. If your organization is interested in partnering with the Pennsylvania Chiropractic Association to support and strengthen the chiropractic profession, please reach out using the email link below. Thank you for listening to the Spinal Chat, a service of the Pennsylvania Chiropractic Association. To support the future of chiropractic in Pennsylvania, consider contacting your local legislators, contributing to the PCA PAC, and if you're not yet a member, joining the PCA today. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. You'll find links to upcoming webinars, membership resources, and the latest legislative updates in the show notes. Until next time, take care, stay informed, and keep advancing the future of chiropractic in Pennsylvania.